The moment my sister's car disappeared down the street, the house fell silent. Then her daughter, mute since birth, looked straight at me and spoke. Clear. Calm. Terrifying. "Auntie," she said, "don't drink the tea Mom made." In that instant, I realized my life was in danger. From the outside, my sister's life looked picture perfect. She and her husband were the kind of couple people admired. Stable jobs, polite smiles, and an 8-year-old daughter everyone felt sorry for because she had never spoken a word. Doctors had called it a rare condition. My sister called it God's will. I never questioned it. When they asked me to babysit while they went on a week-long cruise, I didn't hesitate. I loved my niece. She was gentle, quiet, and incredibly observant. She communicated with nods, drawings, and small hand movements. I had watched her before, and nothing had ever felt strange. That evening felt normal. My sister hugged her daughter tightly before leaving, a little too tightly, now that I think about it. Her husband joked about finally getting some rest. They waved, promised to call, and drove off laughing, excited about their vacation. Inside, the house felt calm. I ordered takeout, put on a movie, and helped my niece settle into her pajamas. She sat beside me on the couch, legs tucked under her, eyes fixed on my face instead of the screen. I assumed she just wanted attention. Later, my sister had left instructions on the counter. Bedtime routine, emergency numbers, and a note reminding me to drink the herbal tea she'd prepared to help me relax. I smiled, touched by the gesture. Everything seemed safe. Familiar. Loving. I had no idea how wrong I was. I was standing in the kitchen when it happened, holding the mug of tea my sister had carefully prepared. The steam curled upward, carrying a faint herbal smell. I heard soft footsteps behind me and turned, expecting to see my niece pointing at something or tugging my sleeve like she usually did. Instead, she stood very still. Her eyes weren't playful or shy. They were serious, too serious for a child. She looked at the mug, then at my face, and opened her mouth. "Auntie," she said. The cup nearly slipped from my hand. For a split second, my brain refused to process what I'd heard. I laughed nervously, convinced I was imagining things. But then she spoke again, slow and clear, every word perfectly formed. "Don't drink the tea Mom made." The room felt colder, like someone had opened a door to winter. My heart began to pound so loudly I was sure she could hear it. I crouched down in front of her, hands shaking, searching her face for any sign this was a cruel joke or a miracle gone wrong. You can talk," I whispered. She nodded once. Then she glanced toward the front door, as if afraid it might open at any moment. "She's watching," my niece said softly. "She always watches." 1,000 questions flooded my mind, but one thought screamed louder than the rest. My sister. The tea. The warning. I slowly set the mug down on the counter, untouched. My niece grabbed my wrist, her small fingers tight and desperate. "She didn't want you to wake up," she said. And that's when fear turned into terror. I carried my niece into the living room and locked the door behind us, my hands trembling so badly I fumbled with the latch. She curled into my lap, finally looking like the frightened child she was. I whispered that she was safe, though I wasn't sure I believed it myself. Between shaky breaths, she told me everything. She wasn't born mute. She could always speak. But the first time she did, when she was 3, my sister panicked. She had been talking to herself about things she shouldn't have, about money, about getting rid of problems. My niece repeated those words later, innocent and curious. That's when the punishment started. My sister told everyone the girl had stopped speaking. Doctors believed it. Teachers accepted it. But at home, my niece was warned never to use her voice. If she did, there were consequences. Locked rooms, missed meals, cold stares that lasted for days. The tea wasn't meant for me to relax. It was meant to make me sleep. My sister didn't trust me. She thought I asked too many questions, noticed too much. If I passed out, she planned to say I'd gotten sick while babysitting. She said accidents happen, my niece whispered. My chest tightened as the pieces fell into place, the forced smiles, the control, the way my sister never left her daughter alone with anyone for long. This wasn't a mistake. It was a plan. And somehow, a terrified little girl had just saved my life. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table, my niece beside me, watching the clock crawl forward while my mind raced. The mug of tea still sat untouched on the counter, a quiet reminder of how close I had come to trusting the wrong person. When my niece finally dozed off, I did something I'd never imagined doing. I searched my sister's house. Slowly, carefully. I checked drawers, cabinets, and finally the locked cupboard above the fridge she'd always said was just storage. Inside, I found small labeled bottles and printed instructions folded neatly in an envelope. My hands went numb as I read. The tea wasn't herbal at all. It was laced with a sedative strong enough to knock someone out for hours. Long enough for a story to be created. An accident. A tragic mistake. I suddenly understood why my sister insisted I drink it, why she sounded so calm when she left. My niece had seen her mixing it before. She didn't understand the words back then, but she remembered the fear in her mother's voice. This time, she understood enough to know I was in danger. By morning, I called the authorities. I didn't confront my sister. I didn't give her a chance to explain or manipulate. Some truths are too dangerous to argue with. As the sun rose, I realized something terrifying. If my niece hadn't spoken, I wouldn't be alive to see it. Everything changed after that night. My niece was placed somewhere safe, far away from the house where her silence had been forced on her. Professionals called her brave. I called her a miracle. As for my sister, the woman I thought I knew, she disappeared from my life along with every illusion I had about family and trust. I spent weeks replaying that moment in my head, the way a child's quiet warning cut through danger I couldn't see. I learned how easily love can blind us, and how often we ignore our instincts because the truth feels impossible. My niece speaks freely now. Her voice is soft, but it's real, and it carries a strength that still amazes me. She didn't just save my life that night. She gave me a second chance to live it differently. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. When something feels wrong, listen. Sometimes, the smallest voice is the one that tells the biggest truth, and it might be the only thing standing between you and a fate you can still escape.